easy rotation depending on where this circle may be pulling.
Oh, okay. Spicy picks abound. 2 Revenant picks on the map. Ty, as well as GK Esports, going for the Revenant, but with completely different backups. You've got Bloodhound and Bang on GK, and then you've got Pathfinder and Crypto on Ty.
Feeling risky, aren't we? Okay. We know that a lot of our teams here have been able to scrim, practice what they feel comfortable when it comes to the possibility of maybe playing on Kings Canyon. Thanks to you guys at home for voting on this map. But it is also nice to note that we have basically a 99% Bangalore pick rate. There's only one team that isn't running the Bangalore, and it's Ty with the Crypto, Pathfinder, and Revenant.
One of the first times in this entire tournament we've seen any team not run Bangalore. Yeah, it's a good one to point out, and very interesting to see how they will go. Considering they're down in 18th at the moment, Vicky, you've got to remember, they have to try something, right? I think that's why we're seeing teams like Na'Vi pick up Horizon, because they realize that down in 20th spot, it's like 20 bombs every game or go home, basically. So you may as well try something. They're leaning into the fragging side. You can't get there with just placement or playing safely now. You have to get in the other team's faces.
You have to frag out, because let's be honest, right? Not even trying to be nice here. You're in game 6. You got 4 more games after this one to really kick things off, and you're finding yourself with only 8 points. I mean, at that point, it's either you just frag out the whole map, or you just grief other teams that you don't want to see find that success who may be playing on that cusp.
Well, we see DSG utilizing the scan from the map room here.
Optics here.
Now, of course, DSG, they're running recon characters anyway. I mean, they've got the Seer. That means Pathfinder is most likely going to be picking up the Ringmaster perk. Obviously, no reason to double up on the, the survey beacons. But they don't need it at the start, because they have the map room that just allows them that information regardless. I mean, they can pop up and grab another one at Repulsor and start working their way up with the Evo. Meanwhile, Weibo Gaming choose not to contest Disguised, as they were threatening to on every single map basically coming into today.
Where's that energy? What's going on here? Although, when you're sitting in 17 with 15 points, I don't blame them. Time is of the essence, like we already highlighted before. So just playing it safe, getting out of Disguised rotation too. They're actually going to be playing on the hilltop, exiting out of that POI that has a survey beacon, but this circle, I have to highlight, is pulling in between labs and maybe even that northern side closer to Capacitor that leads into that right choke of Swamps. A lot of teams have already gone ahead with this rotate after being able to scan a ring console like in Capacitor, or even leaving artillery very quickly, and IP already starting off very strong here.
Asia's a demon, an absolute fragger in APAC South. Looks more like a kitten than a tiger when it comes to land this time around. And look, Makers are in 9th right now off the back of a few strong performances, but it's been mixed up with a couple of very early exits. Pretty much every game we've cast, Vicky, they've gone down so early, and unfortunately, a top 10 is not good enough here. They have to be so much better than that if they want to catapult themselves up into that top 2.
Literally, like 15th, 19th, 16th. They got first at one game with 11 KP and then went out first here. Pioneers, though, holding that thought in containment, as we highlighted before. You can expect so many teams to actually meet up here, considering that it's a great choke for the spots coming out from the west side as KCP try to run away. Let's see what they're able to do here. They're popping the shield back, but they're playing off the low ground. Let's jump into a listening with KCP.
I'm playing under.
Try to look above. I got Plug. You guys got a one right there for a second.
Crack that guy. Flash, turn off.
Turn on, turn on.
No, he's flash, he's flash. I just stairs so weak.
Junk is stairs.
Stairs.
No, I hit him flash.
One grabbing you.
Oh, fuck, man.
Taking a trip into Shambolic Town. Are you kidding me, Na'Vi? Come out on top and now claim containment, but looking on the other side, TSM slowly approaching through that bridge choke, but first they have to deal with Evo's Esports.
TSM on the high ground, however. Multiple avenues ahead of Evos, though. They can go back through the bunker. Considering the amount of damage they're taking from TSM right now, if they do have smokes and options to back away, I'd say that would be the good option, but they do get that first knock.
Hold up here. Still early circle, obviously. They could absolutely take this fight and take this damage. They're going to be able to get the res onto Zap. Fafif, though, on the other side is going to be looking at them. Will he try to overcommit while the action up on the high ground here by Repulsor Disguise showing their face, but it's only Disciple. Huge Sentinel shots, though. From the high ground, gets another crack here before repositioning with the grapple.
You can see him bouncing in his chair. He was very happy with that Sentinel headshot. Might even buy him the opportunity to revive his teammate here.
Can you imagine if the Seer pre-patch would have actually canceled that revive? It would have actually delayed them. So I always see that opportunity, and we see another opportunity with the Sentinel shot. One more, and Design with the Sentinel pops off.
He doesn't miss. Disguised, eliminating Weibo Gaming down near Repulsor, and that's actually bought a lot of space for them, Vicky. They've now got a very easy walk in through hydro dams and potentially through swamps as well before they start seeing some other teams posted up at labs.
Literally the only team that's going to be rotating from that south side through hydro, unless Red Rams wants to take a much more roundabout rotation to avoid Space Station, who will be gatekeeping them by tower, and that's by cage rather, and that's where the ring console's at.
So Crazy Raccoons are on the north here, but we've got 3 teams still trying to make their way out of the zone. That's Na'Vi, Evos, and TSM. I think it's just Fafa Fifth left alive from Evos, potentially going back for some banners. Meanwhile, Na'Vi were looking like they might have wanted to third-party that, but no, they take the safer route and keep going. Oof, SSG into it in the middle of the forest here.
Oh, but GK had also popped that Rebel earlier on. Space Station, they get the trade. Sainu for the other bang now. It's only the Bloodhound alive from GK. Phony with the mass ping. They want to get the finisher, and Koifo with way more health cleans up that last player from GK. Here comes a third party from How.
Forge Shadows not enough to keep GK in the fight. And I don't think there was enough time for a reset there. No, not at all. Koifo, a solid performance, getting his team to win that fight, but you know, at what cost?
Yeah, and that's a big thing here with Space Station going down rather early. Our second place team with 49 points, while Fennel are right behind him with 43 points, have an opportunity here to really make some magic happen, put themselves up in front, because they're also in the next circle from the north side that exits out of Capacitor.
Quite a few teams posted up, especially the Watson ones down here in the swamps. If it does end up pulling that way, Watson teams are going to be in a great spot. But hard to know, Vicky. I mean, it's Kings Canyon. We haven't seen these competitive rings quite as much.
Let's relocate here.
Have the teams? Do they have that sort of information? Can they accurately predict it? It's going to be hard to know. NRG in the northern part, most part of this circle right now, where the 2 circles are touching as well. So, you know, definitely a higher chance that it does pull towards them. And if it does, then that's a very nice high ground to be holding. They've identified a threat behind them in Crazy Raccoon, and there's only a couple of zip lines to get them across this chasm. That's a hard rotate to make.
At least with Crazy Raccoon taking this high ground, I mean, Energy must have known this. You can see the zip line set up from the other side. The mother load allowing Energy perhaps from the other side to actually get that information, because you saw that evac tower with the smoke, so that way it could extend the fuse hole, but also Fennel trying to slowly creep up from behind them. This is an OG spot here. Obviously trying to creep up from behind him without trying to overextend this position. Skyname not going to boot them off just yet. Arcstar make it 2. Crazy Raccoon in a very tough spot. Sandwiched between 2 teams on that low ground.
Oh my god, the fact that Fennel is coming off the back of this is just so bad for Crazy Raccoon. It means that NRG go from a spot on the low ground where they have to poke and hope that they don't get sent to just a very easy third party. That said, North Ep should have come into this as well. Did NRG give up their building too early?
Oh, they got so overzealous. They had moved up and did not look behind them to claim this building, because now this is just free real estate for NIP to just walk up.
Okay, Motherload giving them the information of where they are inside. That makes it a very easy swing there for Zane. And NIP will take down NRG.
Shutting down that momentum that they may have built up for themselves after taking that last game. VP eliminated in your feeds, 13 squads left. Fennel also backing up. Look at the fence line that they have set up with the Watson right in front of them. The space that they are taking up. They are the only team on that north side, aside from Navi, who probably will commit to rotating uphill, up that ramp, where Fennel will have them in their line of sight.
Yeah, you're right. That ramp is going to be so important in these kind of capacitor circles, where some of the buildings inside capacitor, that's where those teams probably from Swamps will want to switch over to. See, that was coming for a long time there. It's NIP who picks up a lot of the kills, however, as, you know, the fourth or fifth team who was in that area.
NIP needs this. Serving a silver platter right when you need it the most, right? They come out on top of another fight. This time, they took out NRG, Crazy Raccoon next. Still have been holding that high ground that you highlighted earlier on, Tino. And it's North Epsilon on the other side of that fence line where they're on that slight low ground.
But neither of these teams have this information, right? So they're all hoping that it actually pulls to them. They don't realize they will be funneled through that choke towards capacitor eventually. The team's down towards Swamps here. Ty and Heroes are kind of locked into a battle to the death here. Meanwhile, Guild is looking on, just waiting for a spot to jump in here and grab some KP.
By the way, in your feeds right there, TSM, they go out in 12th. TSM sitting in overall 5th place with 39 points. They couldn't get anything going on here on Kings Canyon. They had originally got circle kept by Red Rams. I believe lost out on Rebs first and then wrapped around and then got completely denied on their rotate here. While we take a look at Fennel still sitting in 3rd place, still alive. Evo's Esports about to meet TSM in the lobby.
Looks like they finally got a res with Jacku coming back in, or being the last one to go down, but just a few scam placement points for them. Now, keep in mind, this is the area that will be finishing our Kings Canyon game in. How, obviously, one of those Watson teams that's going to be super happy to have found their way into this spot. Na'Vi playing on top of them. Of course, remember we talked about at the start, Na'Vi were playing that aggressive composition. Do they really want a team who's got the defensive advantage to get set up underneath them?
Are they going to even be defensive here in this case? What Dashi is going to be able to hold on to that door, but he hasn't really set up the fence line, even though they are in that next circle, trying to get a little bit more aggressive onto the high ground now.
Quite a few teams are locked into these sort of duo battles, and oh no, Na'Vi looks like they can't withstand How below them. So not only do they get the setup, the pylon, the fences will be there, extra loot, KP. This is great for How.
Well, Na'Vi as a duo, they were kind of cooking there, but it was just not enough, even though How was so low. By the very end of that fight, they sent Na'Vi back, and now How are the only team on the other side of the capacitor wall, where we had made mention about Fennel, who are sitting on top of the north side, before How would either take an evac tower or wrap around that ramp, before now, see the sky slowly approaching from How's side. They want the same spot too.
Guild #1 in the lobby right now. They were looking for those kills over to the Heroes and Ty. Heroes go down. They don't actually... Oh, they grabbed one of them, I think. So, unfortunately, there's some other teams that have crept up behind them. NIP and North Epsilon, who are holding those northernmost buildings, of course, do get flushed out of that position, and that makes things a little bit harder for guilds who may have overstayed their welcome.
This position benefits right now NIP as it should in this high ground for now before they eventually have to move forward, whereas Guild sitting in 1st place, they don't have as much of a risk. Going to be able to try to at least gatekeep them, because even if they move forward, they're going to be in the line of sight of NIP.
I mean, they've got a slightly overhanging rock to guard them. I don't think NIP can actually look down and hit any shots. So they have to drop, and now that they do, they get some fantastic angles on top of them. You can see Andy barely taking any damage as they very much outtrade Guild in the initial selection of shots.
Because look who's behind him. Red Rams just moved up right behind Guild, and Guild turning things around. Red Rams get eliminated, but look who also helps them. It is Fennel, and now Ninjas in Pajamas can finally move forward from the high ground. They're still not in that next circle, and they still have to worry about Guild Esports.
Firm handshakes from NIP and Fennel there as they combine to deal with something a little bit troublesome in between them. This means that NIP also can swing a little bit further south as Fennel look to finish the job. There goes Guild. We've got 4 squads left. The zone, by the way, will be finishing outside of the wall. So on the side, essentially where NIP are right now. How will eventually have to move out of here unless they just want to play for a heal-off.
Although the trade-off between How in disguise right now. Qzir was able to get that knock onto 5CG, right? Playing off a head glitch behind the barrels. It's only up to Q to make some magic happen, and he doesn't have a turbocharger off the Havoc, but he's shooting blindly through that smoke. Shield swap? No, it's empty! It's empty! He can't go for the shield swap! He can't clutch! Disguise get eliminated in 4th.
Now he went down there and he did have a mobile respawn beacon in his box, and you see they immediately pop that. How will have time, I believe, to get themselves back up. The question will be, is there an evac? Does an evac even get over that wall? How do they make it to the other side?
I'm gonna say it right now, Genome. Ninja Pajamas are locked in this game. Then will get eliminated. NIP have fought their way around the entire southeast side.
Okay, so they pop the evac. It's NIP who want to make this happen much more quickly. A player comes out of the dropship and actually goes on the other side.
Oh no! He got stuck with the Arc Star right up the evac tower. That is actually insane, but Nasky holding it down.
They're trying to come out of here on the evac, but they're going to get the finishes before his teammates even make it into fight. NIP, this should be so easy for the European team.
Is it though? Is it? It's a 1v1 playing by the knockdown. NIP, the Seer alive, the Nook Flutter from Same helped them out, and they did it. NIP with an explosive game and an explosive pop-off right when they needed it.
Nasky's hype. Don's relieved. He's trying to give him some of that energy. They know